The World Mental Health Day. Tens of thousands protest in Barcelona against the possible Catalana amnesty deal. Israel warns Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group as it joins Palestinian Hamas attack. Sri Lanka set to take over chairmanship of Indian Ocean Rim Association during 23rd Council of Ministers meeting. In Afghanistan earthquakes, death toll surpasses 2,400. Australia rejects proposal to recognize indigenous people in its constitution. Hollywood actor to be conferred with Satyajit Ray Excellence in Film Lifetime Award at 54th International Film Festival in Goa. ADB to provide 338 million for vaccine production in Bangladesh. China witnesses record low number of births last year. Israel Defense Forces plan to move a ground offensive into Gaza Strip by land, air and sea. The World Mental Health Day. It is observed on October 10 every year to raise awareness and foster positive change about mental health. The theme for this year is Mental Health is a Universal Human Right. The theme aims to improve knowledge and drive actions that protect everyone's mental health as a universal human right. In 1992, the World Federation for Mental Health, led by Richard Hunter, suggested to dedicate October 10 to be celebrated as World Mental Health Day. The first World Mental Health Day was celebrated in 1994 under the theme of improving the quality of mental health services throughout the world. Tens of thousands of people marched through Barcelona, Spain on Sunday to protest against the plans to grant Catalana separatists an amnesty in exchange for their political support for a new left wing government. Police said the crowd was around 50,000, while organizers Societat Civil Catalana put the figure at 3 lakhs. Local media reported acting Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez of Socialist Bloc is trying to secure a new term in office and must strike a deal with Junts and Esquerra Republicana de Catalunya parties to gain enough parliamentary support. Amnesty deal would see charges dropped against more than 1,000 Catalana separatists who are facing legal action for 2017 independence bid. Many of those involved are already in jail. Amid ongoing escalations between Israel and Hamas, Lebanon's Hezbollah militant group fired dozens of rockets at 3 Israeli positions in a disputed area along the country's border with Syria's Israeli occupied Golan Heights. The group said in a statement that the attack was in solidarity with Palestinian people. In response to this, Israel's military fired back at Lebanese areas and warned Lebanon's Hezbollah movement not to get involved in the fighting. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has threatened to turn Gaza into a deserted island. He asked its residents to leave now. Earlier, Israel Defense Forces launched Operation Swords of Iron after the death toll in the Hamas attack rose to more than 300 and 1,500 injured. In response to the deadly attacks, the Israel Defense Forces launched Operation hitting 17 military components and 4 operational command centers belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip, killing more than 230 people. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu strongly attacked Hamas and declared war. As per reports, the Israeli mayor and the head of regional council was also killed in the deadly rocket fire. Several Israelis have also been held as hostages in Gaza. Meanwhile, world leaders have also condemned the ghastly attack on Israel by Hamas terrorists. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed solidarity with Israel and said that India's thoughts and prayers are with the innocent victims and their families. Sri Lanka is all set to take over the chairmanship of Indian Ocean Rim Association during the 23rd Council of Ministers meeting scheduled for October 11, 2023 in Colombo. Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry in an announcement said that the association's member states will hold discussions on collaboration in various sectors including trade and investment, maritime safety and security, fisheries management, disaster risk management and blue economy among others. The deliberations will be guided by recommendations from the 25th Committee of IORA senior officials being held on these days. Sri Lanka will hold the chairmanship of the association from 2023 to 2025, with the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh ceremoniously handing over the chairmanship to Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister MUM Ali Sabri. The IORA, an intergovernmental organization established in 1997, comprises 23 member states and 11 dialogue partners hailing from regions surrounding the Indian Ocean. In Afghanistan, the death toll from strong earthquakes has risen to over 2,400 as search and rescue efforts continue amid reports that some people may be trapped under collapsed buildings. It was one of the deadliest earthquakes to strike the country in 2 decades. UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said at least 465 houses had been reportedly destroyed and 135 were damaged. The 6.3 magnitude quake struck about 40 kilometers from the western city of Herat on Saturday. Many buildings were damaged, trapping people under rubble, and there were at least 3 powerful aftershocks. Afghanistan is frequently hit by earthquakes, especially in the Hindu Kush mountain range, as it lies near the junction of Eurasian and Indian tectonic plates. In June last year, the province of Paktika was hit by a 5.9 magnitude quake, which killed more than 1,000 people and left tens of thousands homeless. October 8, 1993, the UN General Assembly lifted economic sanctions against South Africa following the end of racial apartheid. The sanctions had been imposed since 1960s. October 9, 1962, Uganda achieved independence after nearly 70 years of British rule. October 11, 1939, Albert Einstein warned President Franklin D. Roosevelt that his theories could lead to Nazi Germany's development of an atomic bomb. Einstein suggested US develop its own bomb. This resulted in the top secret Manhattan Project. October 14, 1933, Nazi Germany announced its withdrawal from the League of Nations and stated it would take no further part in the Geneva Disarmament Conference. Australia decisively rejected a proposal to recognize Indigenous people in the Constitution on Saturday. Australians had to vote in the referendum on the question of whether to alter the Constitution to recognize Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island people through the creation of an Indigenous Advisory Body, the Voice to Parliament. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese acknowledged it was not the outcome he had hoped for, but said the country would have to seek a new way forward for reconciliation. Australia's Indigenous citizens, who make up 3.8% of country's 26 million population, have inhabited the land for years but are not mentioned in the constitution. They are the most disadvantaged people in the country. Supporters of the proposal had believed that entrenching an indigenous voice into the constitution would unite Australia and usher in a new era with its indigenous people. Hollywood actor and producer Michael Douglas will be conferred with Satyajit Ray Excellence in Film Lifetime Award at the 54th International Film Festival in Goa. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said his deep love for India is well known and the country is looking forward to welcome him, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and their son to the most prominent film festival in South Asia. He said the festival will showcase country's rich cinematic culture and unique traditions. Asian Development Bank agreed to provide $338 million to Bangladesh for manufacturing vaccines against various diseases. ADB country director shared this at a meeting with Planning Minister Bangladesh in Dhaka on Wednesday. Talking to reporters after the meeting, the Planning Minister said that the government of Bangladesh has initiated the draft project for producing vaccines locally to give protection against various diseases like COVID 19 and dengue. He said that ADB has requested the government to speedily approve the project. The ADB country director said that this initiative for financing the project for manufacturing vaccines was taken to help Bangladesh reduce the dependency on vaccine imports and facilitate more production in the country. China witnessed a record low number of births in 2022. As per the data published by the National Health Commission, the country had just 9.56 million births in 2022. The number of babies born last year was the lowest figure since records began in 1949. Last year, the country's population also fell for the first time in 60 years. Its population was recorded to be 1.41 billion people. The Chinese health authorities' data also said that nearly 40% of Chinese newborns last year were second child, whereas 15% were from families with 3 or more children. Israel Defense Forces on Sunday plan to move a ground offensive into Gaza Strip by land, air, and sea. A warning issued by Israel on Friday told Palestinians to evacuate northern part of Gaza immediately. Reportedly, 1 million people fled south towards a closed border with Egypt. No timings or specifics have been provided by Israel about the ground offensive as of yet. Israel has pounded Gaza Strip with continuous airstrikes and said it kept 2 roads open to let people escape. However, the deadline has passed now and the Israel troops are gathering at the borders. Palestinian Health Ministry said more than 300 Palestinians have been killed and 800 injured in the Gaza Strip in the last 24 hours. The war began when the members of the terrorist organization Hamas barged into Israel a week ago, killing more than 1,300 people and taking many as hostages. The attack caused worst civilian casualties in the Israel's history. William Penn was an English writer, religious thinker, and influential Quaker who founded the province of Pennsylvania during the British colonial era. Penn was an advocate of democracy and religious freedom, known for his amicable relations and successful treaties with Lenape Native Americans who had resided in present day Pennsylvania prior to European settlements in the state. In 1681, King Charles II granted a large piece of his North American land holdings along the North Atlantic Ocean coast to Penn to offset debts. He owned Penn's father, the admiral and politician Sir William Penn. The land included the present day states of Pennsylvania and Delaware. The following year, in 1682, Penn left England for what was then British America, sailing up Delaware Bay and the Delaware River, past earlier Swedish and Dutch riverfront colonies in what is present day Newcastle. On this occasion, the colonies pledged allegiance to Penn as their new proprietor, and the first Pennsylvania General Assembly was held.